All right, so we're going to give you some ways to make money today. We're going to start with CSCO down almost 4% in early trading. So killer quarter, but then on a call, we had negative guidance for the fourth quarter. Again, things looking gloomy from Chambers. Do you need to dump and run?
The dump and run. What about the dump and grind? I tried to be long CSCO over the past 2 weeks using 17 as my stop. Yesterday, the numbers came out. They looked good. Some guys took it long. It was trading like 1840. So some traders felt really happy, and some took it, which was fine. Some investors actually at 1780 were selling in the money calls, so they could hold just through something like this if it happens.
Yeah.
But if you're just playing it flat out for a trade and you don't want to be married to it, if CSCO were to break the lows here, you got to take it all the way down. I would use 1650. You have to sell it and then figure out another time. I think you just hold through and, sometimes maybe even add here if you sold some strength. But at this point, if they don't rally it today, then it's really going to be dead money for another 6 to 8 weeks. So just step away. There'll be better chances and better opportunities elsewhere.
So far, it doesn't look like a rally. Let's real quick go to Juniper. Rose yesterday. We talked about it. What do you do with the stock today?
I think you have to watch CSCO and Juniper together. Yesterday was a great cash flow trade. We outlined levels, and it was strong all day. It actually was even positive as the market got crushed. I took home a little bit overnight, just to have some kind of risk or some positions on in this group if they liked CSCO.
Yeah.
If it opens up down and doesn't rally, I'm just going to sell it, and I'm going to revisit. I think, you just have to just watch it pretty closely at this point.
All right, let's hit to Apple. It was down, slightly down yesterday, but just slightly. Did it prove itself enough for you to get a little bit excited? He sighs. He has a big sigh.
You know why? Because I bought it again as it looked a little strong early on.
Waiting for those catalysts.
I probably paid the highs, and I keep donating money, trying to anticipate the breakout. It has not broken above 351. I got stopped out of a lot of it yesterday as the market came in under pressure. I think if you're holding it for the midterm, if it breaks 345, you have to get out of some. If you're holding it for the longer term, then it technically changes around 341, 342. So again, if the market's going to correct, if this holds in there, maybe when we get a bounce, we'll get that trade. But for now, I'd be a little bit more defensive with all these momentum stocks, including Apple.
All right, Las Vegas Sands, the biggest loser rallied yesterday. So what do? You want to take some profits, or is there another trade you want to do?
Well, LVS was upgraded yesterday. We talked about trading at long versus 42. If you take a quick look at the chart, it's somewhat, filled the gap here. I don't think it's that compelling. If you want to stay long, stay long. But if it starts breaking below this 42, you have to run for the hills.
All right, and FXE, what do you do? Is it oversold?
FXE is, in my opinion, not oversold. And this has been really, really important for the market. We talked about this outside day here. This was crucial. After a huge run and then obviously a precipitous decline in the dollar, this was your reversal. Here was your follow-through. It tried to bounce. We talked about 144 as being resistance. Couldn't even get there. Made a lower low. Watch this area, but I do think the FXE is going to get to, this area at some point. And at this, and if that's going to happen, obviously the dollar is going to continue higher, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But before we close, I want to talk about Goldman Sachs, because we've talked about Goldman Sachs and the importance with the banks. We said if it gets below 151 and stays there, we're going to see some more pressure. And guys have made a lot of money shorting rallies on this Goldman Sachs. And if you look at it, it's still just clawing its way down. This was at, a lot of these reverse, these head and shoulders tops are starting to work. So that's showing me that technically, we're not looking so good. And if you see here, I don't see support in Goldman Sachs really to about this 142 area, or big support here. So that's maybe when the banks will stop going down, but there is some room here, and this is the measured move from this pattern. So, keep shorting Goldman Sachs, and you'll keep making money until we get there.
All right, that's a trade for you. All right, we're going to wrap